Hello, and thank you for joining me today for our webinar on how to start your agency on Upwork. I have a lot of great information to share with you about agencies, so we'll go ahead and get right to it. We'll start by introducing our agency example we'll be referencing throughout the webinar today. This is a real agency on Upwork, and you can go ahead and look them up if you'd like. Easiest way is to just Google Richmond Concept Upwork, and their profile will come up. So meet the Richmond Concept. They are a premium design and creative agency on Upwork. They've earned over $500,000. They're a cloud-based creative freelance team in the US, and their motto is, "We provide visual solutions to businesses that have an overwhelming workload or lack the creative staff needed to effectively produce their creative campaigns." Notice that this motto is very specific. They tell their potential clients right away how they can help. Here's an example of the types of projects Richmond Concept does, along with the duration of the projects and the price. You'll notice that these are not small or inexpensive projects. These are in the thousands of US dollars, and they're spanning a couple of months. So that can tell you the type of work that agencies do. So what is the difference between an individual freelancer account versus an agency account? An individual freelancer can have an agency account, but for the purposes of this webinar, we're mostly going to focus on teams. Agencies are businesses with multiple employees or subcontractors operating under one brand name and one Upwork agency account. Per the terms of service, members of an agency account are either employees or subcontractors. Here's what an agency looks like on Upwork. You can see the agency profile and then also how that displays in search results. So the title line there, the name goes to the agency profile, and then you can also see that it shows the relevant freelancer who is tied to the agency. So essentially the most relevant agency member for that search result. In Upwork, we have an increased focus on agencies, and we've recently launched a curated agency landing page that you can see right here to make it easier for clients to hire agencies. So this is in addition to including agencies in search results. On landing pages like this one, clients can easily browse through agencies that specialize in a particular area of business. We've started with web and mobile development, creative and production work, and marketing services, but we look to expand this in the future. All right, let's get into some agency basics, and most specifically, what is an agency and how do you get one set up for yourself? So what is an agency? An agency is a team on the Upwork platform that works on projects. And usually these are large or more complex projects. Who works with an agency? Upwork agencies generally range from small teams with diverse skill sets to large companies with over 100 full-time employees. Teams can be virtual that are distributed around the country or around the world, or they can be all together in a central office. And why would you need an agency? Generally, compared to individual freelancers, agencies are equipped to handle complex projects requiring multiple skill sets and coordination. And coordination is one of the big differentiators here. So some clients prefer to assemble a team of freelancers themselves. Others want to pay for that organization of bringing the team together. So for an example, if a client has a website project to design a new website for their business, they may need someone focused in coding, someone to do the design, someone to do the copywriting, all these different pieces. So some clients prefer to source all those individuals themselves. Others would like to use an agency that already has all those pieces in one place and will handle that coordination for them. Here's the steps of how you can create an agency on Upwork. Step one is to create the company. To have an agency on Upwork, you first need to have a freelancer profile. So you can actually see at the bottom of this slide, it says, this is a freelancer account, create a new account. That's the button that you're going to click to upgrade to an Agency Plus membership and create your agency account. The next step is to invite the team members that you'd like to have in your agency and then set their permissions for them. And we'll go into these a little bit deeper in the next few slides. A very important note to kick off all of this information is Upwork does not provide any tax or legal advice. By creating an agency, you are creating a business. And so you need to check with your local government to know that you're in compliance for everything for running a business. So it's great to have an advisor for legal and tax compliance to make sure that you're handling all of this properly. When you create an agency, you give it a name like the Richmond Concept, and you will need to have an agency plan on Upwork. So right now the agency plan is $20 per month, and you can see some of the plan benefits on this slide. You can have unlimited team members, you can have insight into competitor bids on jobs, you can engage and apply by purchasing shared agency connects, and you can also opt to keep your earnings confidential. Now, there's two different agency business models that I alluded to earlier, and one of those is a team of freelancers on Upwork. So usually this means that the freelancers are spread out and they're not all in the same city or location. So this is your globally distributed team. The other option would be a team of on-site agency workers. So this can be a salaried team or a team of subcontractors, but they're all in one space and use Upwork to generate leads for their projects. Outside of setting up your agency on Upwork, the actual Upwork profile, you also need to set up business operations. Like I mentioned previously, by starting an agency, you are starting a business. As Upwork, we're not in the position to provide advice on your specific situation. So you need to check local government, country, state, city, resources, usually their websites, have some great material about setting up a business and what you need to do. But just to get started, here are some of the things you probably need to consider. Your business structure type, if you're a corporation or an LLC, that sort of thing. The business regulation with government entities. Do you need a business license? Do you need to be registered somewhere? Business insurance is always something to think about to protect yourself and your employees. And then also accounting and payroll needs, because you will be needing to pay your team members. So Upwork does have a resources section where you can help find some good connections for these services. So that's the link you see over on the right-hand side there. And if you aren't able to write this link down right now, you can always find the link to business resources in the footer of any Upwork page. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a business resources link for you. So let's talk a bit more about agency roles, because one of the main differences of an agency account is that you can set up teams and assign roles. So at the top is the owner. This is the person ultimately responsible for the agency and its work. They're the main admin to manage the account, buy connects, handle all of the finances, and create and manage teams. Next, you have a business manager and team members. So for the business manager, they manage proposals, rates, offers, and contracts for all members. And they also can submit milestones on agency contracts. They can help manage team members by seeing time-based reports, but not earnings. So this is just kind of a level that can help the owner with some of the administrative duties. Then next we have the team members. So they work on behalf of the agency. They actually can submit proposals on behalf of the agency. However, they can't respond to inbound offers. And they do accrue reputation and work history for the agency. Now, one really important distinction here that's going to come up later in our webinar is an exclusive versus a non-exclusive team member. So an exclusive team member works only for your Upwork agency. So an example would be someone maybe you knew in your business network that you recruited to come onto Upwork and work just for your agency. A non-exclusive team member may work for your agency as well as another agency, or even independently on Upwork. So an example of a non-exclusive may be somebody that you found on Upwork to fill a specific skill set that you needed and then ask them to join your agency. So they might still be having their own independent Upwork contracts, but also be working on your agency Upwork contracts. So that's a non-exclusive. So when you're creating an agency account, like I said, an agency account is created from the owner's Freelancer account, and you're giving it your agency a name to operate under since you're a team of people instead of just one person. You can also see in step 2 here how you're setting up your team, that there's all sorts of different roles you can assign. You can assign whether the person is an exclusive freelancer or not. You can see who your business manager is. Lots of other features, chat, access, that sort of thing. So this is all back-end organizational features. And also at this point in the webinar, I also like to mention don't be worried if this is a lot of information or if it's getting somewhat confusing. There are a lot of features to an agency account, but there is great help resources in the support section of Upwork about agencies. So you can always click on that little question mark that's in the upper right-hand corner of your Upwork pages and search for agency. And all the information we're covering today is there in writing for you to look at anytime you need to. So this next slide shows what an owner or manager sees of the team roster. So this is how your team is put together. The agency owner or business manager can set members' rates. You can also set members' profile visibility. So that means that you don't have to show all the freelancers you have working with you on your agency profile. You can choose to just show a select set. And you can also prevent exclusive members from seeing their own profile rates. So exclusive, that means a freelancer that works solely for your agency on Upwork doesn't necessarily have to see how you've listed their rate on their profile. Further organization is available for big teams. So this is actually more of a back-end feature for the owner or the business manager. You can create teams within your agency. The maximum number of agency members is 300 per team. So you can see that you can actually get a really big agency going on. But you could help with organization, maybe to cluster all of your developers or all your editors. It just helps with administrative efficiency. All right, so now you've created all the behind the scenes setup for your agency. So now we're going to look at getting your profile set up, the parts that clients are going to see. And it's just like with an individual profile, you want to create a strong profile that makes a strong first impression. And this is really all about branding your agency and showing the skills you have and what type of work you want to do. So you can edit your agency profile by going to Find Work Agency Profile. And you can use the banner and tagline to stand out from other agencies, showcase your brand, tell your story, and really convey your attitude and what it's like to work with you. There's a section for a high resolution banner image. The recommended size for that is 3,200 pixels by 320 pixels. You want to use as little text as possible. It's mostly a visual thing. And you want to keep it simple with brand colors. You can see Richmond Concept here really made it vibrant and made it stand out. Next part of the profile we're going to talk about is your tagline. It should be concise, professional, and clear. This is your one-line summary or mission statement. You really want to focus on what makes your agency unique. And an effective example would be 3D animation and video production studio in the global healthcare space. So they're talking about what they do, and they're talking about in what audience they do it for. A less effective tagline would be web development, and then this whole list of skills. It's really just a list of skills. You're not really giving the client much information to go off of. Next is the overview section, and you want to use this section to tell your story and describe your expertise as an agency. So you're going to use this area to highlight your company's value propositions, expertise, and how your company works with clients. You can touch on the services your agency offers, the size of your team, your primary skills, and the types of projects you tackle. You can even include what it's like to work with you. Are you known for a particular type of customer service or a particular turnaround time? Any of that type of information is great for your overview section. You can also add a video that can be a highlight reel of your work. It can be a short introduction of your team. The key here is short, keeping it less than 1 minute, and making sure that the video simply adds to your profile. It is not a substitution for completing your agency profile. Next, we're going to look at the services section. So this is where you're able to outline your agency specialties. And this area really helps clients quickly understand the range of services that your agency offers. You can choose from a list of categories and pick those skills that are the best fit for your agency's services. You can describe your company's approach, specialties, or experience. And you can even choose a relevant project from your portfolio as the showcase for that skill. And right now you're able to add up to 10 primary services for your agency. Another section you could use to impress prospective clients is the featured clients section. So here you're able to list up to 12 of your previous clients. Very important. Make sure you get permission to use your previous client in your portfolio or in your profile. And especially if you're going to reference their name and projects. If you're not able to get permission, you can always be a little bit more general, like saying a global e-commerce company. Keep it confidential. There's also a section where you can list awards, industry recognitions, certifications, achievements, that sort of thing. You can list up to 10 awards in that section. So how else are clients evaluating agencies, and what else are they looking at on your profile? So what you're seeing on this slide is what's usually on the right-hand side of your agency profile. So there's all these different kind of statistics and information, if you will. So one of the more important that's in the green box at the top is minimum project size. So you can help clients understand the types of projects preferred by your agency, whether you want big or small, or where your wheelhouse is. And going a little further down, you can see office locations. So here you can show clients if you have a physical location for meetings or walk-in appointments. If you're a globally distributed team, you can demonstrate your primary location, just so they kind of have an idea of the time zone and that sort of thing for their primary contact. Moving over further to the right, you can see the client focus. So you can pick which type of businesses you would prefer to work with. Looks like the Richmond concept here is open to working with everybody, from very small businesses to large businesses. But you can pick and choose which of those you would prefer to work with. And below that, you can see the languages. So they've got some Russian, also some English, and just a little bit of German. Next, we're going to talk about the agency portfolio. And this says, don't forget about the portfolio, because it's really important and it's a big step in helping you stand out against other agencies. With a portfolio, you can share a range of your best and latest projects. Work in a non-visual field, you can still include text-based examples or even create case studies about the projects. Talk about what the project was, how you helped, and then how the client was better for your agency's involvement. You can link portfolio items to relevant projects from your services section. You can also link it to specific examples from past projects. Just like a complete agency profile is important, making sure the public members of your agency's team have strong profiles is important too. So making sure that those team members that are working for your agency have a complete Upwork profile is really important. So on this slide, we see Melody, and she is the owner of the Richmond concept. So in this example, if you look in the far right-hand corner of the slide, you'll see a red box that shows that Melody is a freelancer on Upwork who is associated with the Richmond concept, a top-rated agency on Upwork. So a strong profile helps to demonstrate the professional specialization in a single area of expertise. So the strength of an agency is based on the fact that there's a lot of different expertise all coming together to work on one project. So with these individual profiles, that's what you're demonstrating. You can list a few of the members' strongest and relevant skills. Make sure they include a professional title and high quality photo. Make sure that they've included an overview of their capabilities and experience. And they're going to want to have a portfolio of their relevant work as well. Another note here, Melody has her hourly rate showing. And like we talked about before, if this was an exclusive agency member that only worked for the Richmond concept, you would be able to hide that hourly rate part. Unless you are exclusive to an agency on Upwork, you can toggle back and forth between different profiles. So this is just another kind of back-end organizational feature that helps you out. So with Melody, she's an individual freelancer. You can see she has an agency account and she has a client account. So she has multiple different types and they're all under the one drop down for her to move back and forth. So let's talk about the workflow of working with an agency. Number one, you got to get some work. So that either works with the business manager looking for projects, or you're getting invites to projects. So then the business manager then either responds to an invite or submits a proposal and then discusses the terms of the project. Next, you're going to collaborate with your team. You can communicate, share files, do all of that through Upwork, and then you get paid for your successful and fabulous work. So in the next few slides, we're going to go into more detail on all of these steps. Here's what you need to know about submitting proposals as an agency. Typically, business managers manage proposal submission for the agency. However, it is not possible to apply with the agency's profile. An individual profile must be submitted. So if you look at this example, we see that Melody is the freelancer that's applying, but next to it, it's got Richmond Concept, the agency name. So she's an individual freelancer applying on behalf of the agency. Another alternative is a business manager can submit a proposal with their own profile, or they can select a team member. So if you have a team member whose skills are really a good fit for the project or the big highlight of the project, you can choose to submit a proposal with that profile. And non-exclusive freelancers can choose whether they're submitting on behalf of the agency or as an independent. And just like with an individual account, you're going to want to make sure you're writing strong, detailed proposals that outline how your team is a good fit and how they will approach the project. Once you've accepted an invite or won a project, now you're looking at accepting contracts. Only agency business managers or owners can accept an agency contract offer. Also, a note on pricing here, because you can see that there's an hourly rate and what you'll receive. Agencies are paid one sum, and it's up to the agency to distribute that money to the team. So the contract will be for the entire project price or rate. You can still include milestones on fixed price projects, but we'll get a little bit deeper into how this payment works in a little bit. Just like an individual account, there is a message room with contact details and communications for each project. Team members receive agency messages in their freelancer context. Business managers and agency owners receive messages in their agency or freelancer context based on who was hired. You can set preferences for messages in settings, including who on the team is notified when. All right, so this is what I alluded to earlier about getting paid as an agency. All payments for agency projects go directly to the agency account. The agency owner is responsible for paying agency members outside of Upwork. Payments made from agencies to agency members are not protected or facilitated by Upwork, and agencies are responsible for maintaining all proper documentation for their employees. So all things regarding tax, human resources, that's all up to the agency owner. So again, it's a great idea to get some outside help and resources to help you with these business pieces of running your agency. Getting the money from your agency account is the same as from your individual account. Make sure you select a specific period of time or when you want to get paid, and then the money will get transferred to your account. You also have access to statistics, just like on your individual account. So you can see your job success score for the agency, earnings, clients, how often you were viewed, all those sorts of things. Just like individuals, agencies get a job success score. An agency job success score is based on all the agency projects done. One big distinction is once they have done enough projects, exclusive team members and the agency owner display the agency's job success score. So with our example here, the Richmond concept is showing their 96% job success rate. Our girl Melody, who's the owner of the Richmond concept, is also going to display the 96% job success rate. But her non-exclusive freelancers that are in her agency will display their own job success rate based on the projects they've done different from the agency. Just like with individual accounts, there are varying reports you can run, all with different levels of earnings info, depending on role permissions. So agency owners and those with admin or financial permissions can see full reports with earnings information. Business managers can view time-based reports without financial information, and team members can view only reports on their own work without any earnings info. Here's an example of what a work diary for an agency team member looks like. Note that agency owners and those with full work diary permissions can view work diary screenshots for each contract, but only the freelancer on the contract can edit the work diary. Just like individuals can earn top-rated and rising talent status, so can agencies. So on this slide, you can see some of the requirements and perks of becoming a top-rated agency. So if you're a top-rated, you get a badge, you get personalized tips to help you strengthen your profile, you get premium customer support, exclusive invitations to submit proposals, and a customized job digest, and also the ability to exercise more control over your job success score. On the left here, you can see some of what it takes to earn that top-rated status within Upwork. And then a note at the bottom here is that new members of a top-rated agency automatically get rising talent status on Upwork. So some top tips of successful agencies. Number one, they invest in profiles, not only for the agency itself, but also for the agency members. They also stay active and engaged. So they're submitting proposals, responding to messages. They're very responsive and active within Upwork. Number three, they build job success. So they deliver great work over and over again. And lastly, they leverage Upwork resources like the blog, the hiring headquarters, and the community. And all of these can be found in the footer of Upwork. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of any page, you can find the blog, community, business resources, all that great stuff. All right, so we've covered all the details of how to create and manage an agency on Upwork, and now it's time to talk a little bit about how to decide if an agency on Upwork is right for you. So we're going to run through 6 questions to ask yourself. Number one is why. If your answer is only to make more money, you might want to think a little bit deeper. Running an agency is running a business and managing employees. And so you really want to think about if you want to take on that responsibility. And you need to understand that as an agency owner, your day-to-day responsibilities may change. You're going to be doing more work to sell the agency and get projects, and maybe doing less of the actual project work that you did as an individual freelancer. Second question to ponder is, what is your vision? An agency requires clear vision because there are so many decisions that you need to make. Answer the question, what value is my agency bringing? How are you stronger and better as an agency as opposed to just individual freelancers? Number 3 is, what is your niche? You can't be everything to everyone. You need to know your team's expertise and focus in on building the best agency you can to use those specific talents. Then you also want to think about how you're going to express those talents and how they're used to your potential clients. You really got to think about where you fit within the broad marketplace of Upwork. Fourth, we're thinking about, what is my unique selling proposition as an agency versus an individual? Remember, for agencies, people are paying for organization and process. So work to refine and articulate those within your particular niche. You also want to think about if you want a co-founder. And for this one, it's entirely up to you. It can be really complimentary and helpful, or it can be a big headache. You're going to want to make sure you align around a common vision. It's also a good idea to start a document from the onset with rules of engagement, what happens if you part ways, review it every couple of months, and keep it current to make sure that everything is updated as the business changes. Lastly, you want to think about your team. Think about who to hire, junior versus senior, what sort of workload you expect, that sort of thing. And remember, you're the boss and these are your employees. So you want to make sure you're hiring people that you want to work with and you feel comfortable being responsible for their work. You also want to make sure that you understand all tax and legal ramifications of running a business and seek out the appropriate help to make sure you're in compliance with everything in your location. So there's a lot to think about with an agency, and running an agency is certainly not for everyone. So a few more things that you can consider when trying to make that decision. More questions. Am I getting a lot of job invites that I can't handle by myself? That might be a signal that you need to assemble a team. Are you great at coordinating a team of people? There is a huge amount of coordination that goes into running an agency. So if that's one of your strong suits, that might be a good position for you. Are you able to communicate with clients effectively? Like I mentioned earlier, as an agency owner, you're going to be selling your agency skills a lot. And a lot of that is communication with clients. You're the main point of contact. So think about how you communicate with clients and if that's one of your strong suits. Are you able to translate client job requirements into outstanding work? So in addition to talking to the client, you are then taking that information and talking to your team. So you need to make sure that that information goes both ways and that you're good at that communication and that you want to take on that communication responsibility. Also, can you and your team execute large, complex, or longer-term projects? That's usually what agencies are for these bigger projects. So is that the type of work that you want to do? And lastly, can you handle the responsibility for other freelancers? As an agency owner, you are ultimately responsible for the work that your agency turns out. And that means that you're responsible for other people's work, which can be tricky. And you need to think about if that's something that you want to be responsible for. So if you answered yes to a lot of these questions, then running an agency might be for you. And that is all the information on agencies that I have for you for this webinar. Like I mentioned, there is great resources available in the help section of Upwork, should you need to look up any of these details. And with that, I will say thank you very much for your time and attention and for joining me today. Good luck out there.